The episode started off with Jess. Poor Jess. Like, going through it. Depression after the breakup with Dez. Stuck on the couch in front of the TV for days. It took for the girls to approach her and to convince her to get off the couch and go see her therapist. And they were going to be on her until she did that. Kudos to them. Kudos to them. Kudos to them for being true friends. Like, hey, we are worried about you. We're going to make sure that you get to see that therapist. You missed your last appointment. Okay. We're going to be on your butt until you go see the therapist for your next appointment. Go do that. And she did it. She did it. She worked up the courage and she made her way to the therapist. And I was happy to see that. That takes courage and strength, because if the girl was just stuck at the TV with the remote like this for days, unhealthy. Clearly she lost in the head, like lost. Like, that was a withdrawal. And she definitely needed to get pulled out of that. And thankfully her friends were able to do that. Her friends were able to start of that and then pushing her to get to her therapist. Okay, next up, Zoe convincing and talking Anna into going over to Aaron's place to get her things and to see if he was suffering from their breakup. Meanwhile, ignoring Aaron's calls and texts. Childish and petty of Zoe. Zoe. Come on now, girl. If you wanted to know how he was holding up and what his emotional state was, you should have been answering the calls and texts he was sending you. That's it. That's all. Like, you should have answered to see what he wanted and went from there. So, should have handled your own business. Again. All right, so back to Jess. Jess made it to the therapy session, and the therapist heard her out thoroughly. She then suggested medication to her, antidepressant pills to her, which she rejected. Jazz rejected. She just rejected off front, off top. And I get it. People in the African American community, they don't really, one, they're not so receptive to therapy and counseling. Two, medication for mental health. That's not really a situation that's not so receptive to people in the African American community. So, yeah, I saw that coming. On to Doug and Keela. It's heating up. And it's starting to appear that Doug wanted more than a friends with benefits situation with her. Meanwhile, it's stalling. And, so he ended up going to Keela's event later. Her little panel talk or whatever. Sidebar, that she made a very good point about, the march that Martin Luther King started. Is that over? Is that purpose over with, to say today's society? Not going to get too much into that, but I loved what she said about that. And I agree with that, where that was going on that panel. Okay, so Doug went there to support Keela. Meanwhile, we got cut short because he got a text to go check on Jess, and he did that. Doug's presence made an impact on Jess. And with the advice he gave her about, going to get meds, and he also tapped on about, the African American community and meds not being so, receptive in the African American community, and let alone counseling and therapy. But it's good that she's doing it, and if the meds and the, therapy is helping her, she needs to get it. She needs to get back on track, and she listened. Ultimately, she listened, which we'll get to in a minute. He made the point that, don't feel like the meds are going to change you, or they're going to change you, because you're still going to be Jazz, the strong chick I know, the strong chick I was once in a relationship with, and you can only respect that. Just good words and good advice from him. Back to Anna and Aaron. Anna made it to Aaron's spot, and they were discussing everything but Zoe at his place, causing Vivec and Zoe to get a bit worried, especially Vivec. Heavy on Vivec. That was hilarious. Vivec was cuckoo, going crazy, worried, and getting a little possessive when, dude, you got so sprung and you only hit one time. You got so hit and sprung of one hit from Anna. And she's not even your girlfriend for you to be worried about Anna at Aaron's spot because of their past relations. Like, bruh. Okay, so push come to shove, the game changer moment where Zoe got a call, a butt dial, a random butt dial from Anna's phone sounded a little frisky between Aaron and Anna, which caused Vivec and Zoe to rush over into Storm over to Anna's. Heavy on Vivec. Vivec was the first to rush in that bad boy. Okay, so back to Doug. Doug made his way back to Keela's event and practically was over at that moment when he got back. And, you know, after spending time with Jess, I guess he was feeling a little ways because it got to a point where Keela realized Doug wasn't at the event anymore, and it made her realize that she wanted to be more than just casual, as they keep saying, just casual. She wanted it to be more than just casual relationship. She wanted it to be more than just casual relations with Doug. When she told him, he flipped the script yet again, keeping them in the just casual zone, saying that he doesn't think that that's best and that he thinks that they should not break a good thing that they got going on. And knowing good and well, that's not what he wants. Honestly, Doug needs to stop playing. Doug kind of did this with Jazz too. Like, just be upfront, be real about what you want. Be upfront and be real and don't play around with it because that's where people get hurt. One, like miscommunications happen and misconceptions happen and feelings are involved. Clearly, feelings are slightly growing between Doug and Keela, and both of them want to act on it, but they can't because Doug is constantly putting these stipulations in air about not wanting to mess things up, not wanting to do X, Y, Z. And again, I don't know if that has something to do with Jazz or if that's just him feeling like he wants to have his options open. Like, stop playing with it. You're young, Doug. Like, enjoy life. And not singly if you got people in your corner who really want you in their life and love you in their life, desire you to be in their life exclusively, and you feel mutual. It's just, what is holding him back? I don't know, but it's mad Aggie because they clearly like each other, and it's just him and his mental just keep holding him back and pulling him, you know, from being great in his relationships, honestly. So on to Vivec and Zoe making their way to Aaron's spot, with Vivec storming in head first, like I said, with assumptions as something that did not happen, just a butt down situation, them talking about Aaron's rug. And Anna then put Vivec and Zoe in their place due to no commitment to Vivec and only doing a favor for Zoe because she didn't want to face Aaron herself. Bizarre, right? Imagine that. You send your friend over to your ex's house, your fresh ex's house, to get your things and to get the tea on how he feel about him and Zoe or their relationship, about their relationship or what just happened. She stayed hours too long, butt dialed from the phone, and it sounded a little frisky. It sounded a little suspicious. And it wasn't that. You get over there somewhat accusing or somewhat, checking things out, and it was none of that. And the person was only doing you a favor. Problemo. So it definitely was bizarre. I found that bizarre. Then that matter ended up leaving Aaron and Zoe to have a real one-on-one conversation since the breakup. The conversation emotionally concluded with them agreeing to stay out of each other's way and out of each other's eyesight because it's just hard for them to coexist and maintain, while not being with one another. And it hurts. I'm sure It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. And that left them that left them both emotional and brokenheartedly. It did. I felt it. I'm sure other viewers felt it, and the actors felt it. So good job for that as well, actors. On to Jess making her way back to running. Jess is back to running. The therapist suggested that it's probably good for her, and I think it's good for her too. It'll clear her head, and it's familiar to a space where she was happy. Jess is back to running and randomly ran into Des, who was also running. She apologized to Des for picking and choosing what part of him she wanted to accept and what she was comfortable with emotionally. He was receptive to it, and he accepted the apology, and they departed emotionally. I don't think that's going to be the last we see of Des and Jess. I think they deserve another shot. Jess deserves another shot with Des, and Doug needs to give Doug needs to give Keela a fair shot. Give it a fair shot. Jazz and Des give it a fair shot. Move on, grow without each other, and just do you guys. Do it. Be happy. And that ended up turning out to the next scene with Jazz running back home and showing the antidepressant meds that she was taking. She agreed to them. Good for her. Because I feel like that is only going to help her in the long run. It's only going to help her in the long run. It's going to help her get back on track to wherever she wants to get to, wherever she needs to be, whether that's without her sister, whether that's without Doug or Des. Jazz is a good girl. She did not deserve this madness. She did not deserve it. She did not deserve it. And that's so unfortunate that happened like that. And that really left that girl on the edge of a mental breakdown because she was super sweet. She never really went outside, she never did any foul play. The minor foul play she did end up doing when she was with Doug or on that break, she ended up sleeping with another guy that Doug kind of pushed her to, too. That he kind of pushed her to do. So, I don't get it. Jess, she's a good girl. She doesn't deserve the madness coming her way. As the episode ended, and I had this crazy erotic dream of her and Vivec having another moment. Vivec was speaking in Spanish and all. Hilarious. He came in her room, she quote unquote confronted him about, the craziness that took place and that him coming and accusing her of doing whatever with Aaron when they're not together. And he probably was apologizing for it, then started speaking in Spanish to her and gave her a kiss. She slapped him, and she then went in for him at a kiss, and they got to getting to a point, and I woke up from that dream sweating bullets, and the episode concluded and went off. And I'm just like, OMG, as I think about it, there's a little weird triangle going on because Zoe and Aaron, Zoe and Luca, no longer a situation, but happened. Aaron had a moment with Anna, no longer a thing. Anna had a moment with Vivec, no longer a thing for now. The circle, that entire circle is, that circle is weird. It's weird. And I hope they figure it out. Maybe we'll see more of Anna and Vivec. I hope Jazz figures it out with Des, or, with or without Des, I hope she figures it out. I think they'll probably end up getting back together at some point. Hopefully he coming for her, and they work that out. And I hope Aaron and Zoe figure it out. Zoe has been reaching and grabbing and won something lovely with somebody since the beginning of Grownish. And it hasn't really happened for her. Like, as soon as she's up, it soon goes down. It's never a happy moment in a relationship. Like, nobody's never content and just there and happy. And I wish her well. And on Vivec again, maybe that'll happen. We'll see. So, that's the review, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. If you're on Instagram right now, we're watching this live. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, this is not live. This is not live. It's not live. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel. Like, comment, share. Let me know how you felt about this recap review. Let me know how you felt about it. Let's talk about the episode. Let's talk about it. If you're watching this on Instagram, let's talk about it. Comment, follow, like. Let's talk about it. Again, thanks for watching, guys. It's your boy Ron, a.k.a. Ron the Artist. Peace.